Good morning. My name is Hans Butzer. I am Dean of the Christopher C. Gibbs College of Architecture, and it's my honor to welcome you to Resilient Futures, Interdisciplinary Perspectives on Climate Change, Migration, and Habitation. I would like to start the morning by introducing Gibbs College PhD student Felipe Flores, who will share a land acknowledgement. Felipe.
Good morning, everyone. Long before the University of Oklahoma was established, the land on which the university now resides was the traditional home of the Hassonai, Caddo Nation, and the Kerikerish, Wichita, and affiliated tribes. This land was also once part of the Muscogee Creek and the Seminole nations. We acknowledge this territory once also served as a hunting ground, trade exchange point, and migration route for the Apache, Comanche, Kiowa, and Osage nations. Today, 39 federally recognized tribal nations dwell in what is now the state of Oklahoma as a result of settler colonial policies designed to assimilate indigenous peoples. The University of Oklahoma recognizes the historical connection our university has with its indigenous community. We acknowledge, honor, and respect the diverse indigenous people connected to this land. We fully recognize, support, and advocate for the sovereign rights of Oklahoma's 39 tribal nations. This acknowledgement is aligned with our university core values of creating a space for diversity and inclusion. It's our institutional responsibility to recognize and acknowledge the people, culture, and history that make up our entire OU community. Thank you.
Thank you, Felipe, for that important recognition. And this land acknowledgement reminds us that we would be hard-pressed to find a more appropriate place to explore issues of forced migration, whether at human hands or caused by natural hazards. As we start the day, I wish to thank the Fred Jones Jr. Museum of Art, especially John Fowler, for hosting us. I would also like to thank Professors Angela Pearson, Stephanie Pilot, and Dan Bucco, along with Felipe Flores and Camille Germany, for bringing us all together today. We are grateful to the Bruce Goff Chair of Creative Architecture for making this event possible, and as well as for the sponsors of this important event. The OU Institute of Resilient Environmental and Energy Systems, the OU Arts and Humanities Forum, the OU Data Institute for Societal Changes, the OU Institute for Community and Societal Transformation, and the OU School of Visual Arts. The idea for this symposium grew out of our recognition that the global challenges we face cannot be solved by one discipline alone. Changes in the Earth's climate necessitate an urgent rethinking of how and where we can live. As severe weather intensifies, coastlines erode, forests burn, and water sources evaporate. Millions of people are forced to migrate in search of habitable environments, jobs, and safety. The scope of the challenge presented by climate change requires a coalition of climate scientists, engineers, artists, social scientists, landscape architects, planners, and activists, and so many more. Simply having the scientific knowledge to address the challenge is not nearly enough. The challenges presented by climate change and the new flows of migration caused by it require a collective approach. We need knowledge from the social sciences on the ways in which policies, demographics, and economics influence individual and community responses. We seek expertise from professional disciplines, particularly architecture, engineering, construction science, landscape architecture, and regional and city planning, to envision strategic solutions to infrastructure and housing challenges. Humanists are needed to understand and interpret the dramatic global shifts unfolding on our lives. And of course, we need artists to inspire understanding, empathy, outrage, and action. We began this conversation last night with our keynote lecture from Dr. Tracy Rose Ryder. She helped us understand the broader context for a resilient future in terms of environmental, social, and economic resilience. Today, we will hear from scholars across our own campus whose work engages one of the many facets of climate change, migration, and habitation. Our hope is that by learning more about the work happening on our own campus, we may be inspired to reach out, to connect, and to develop strategies and projects for future collaborations and impact. We hope to inspire students and faculty to work together to envision a future world that is healthy, resilient, and just. And now, we open this symposium. I would like to start by inviting Dr. Pilot and Dr. Connolly up to the stage to introduce our first session.